anybody wants to be successful, especially it doesn't matter if he's a student, if you're into business, or even just looking for employment, you have to have this connection. You have to build networks.
Mm.
And I think what is very important you said, and I really love what you said about showing yourself as an asset. You see, most of the time people are looking for opportunity. You want to get value from either the company or from the school. You want to get a scholarship, but maybe you're not showing that you are an asset. So it's very important, especially if you're a graduate student, go say, you know what, I can volunteer, I have this skill, and I can be able to assist in this class. That's how you get these doors to open for you.
Yeah.
Go in, knock the door, send email, be consistent, because there's somebody else who's more consistent than you. For me, what I believe is not necessarily about the quality or the skills that we have, but it's about consistency. If you want something, you have to keep knocking those doors. Today, we're going to be having this conversation with my dear friend, Otieno, former international student representative at Morgan State University. So our goal here is to be able to add value to you as our dear listeners, to give information that can be helpful for you to thrive if you're an international student, or if you're a parent of an international student, or if you have a relative who's an international student here in the US or any other country for that matter. So welcome, my dear friend. It's good to have you here.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gishuki, for inviting me today. It's a pleasure being here, and I'm elated to be here today to talk about my experience, my journey, and I'm looking forward to having a meaningful conversation with you. Yes, and I'm glad, and I hope that our conversation today is going to help to inspire and uplift, so many international students, almost so many students who want to come to the US.
That is awesome. So just to begin with, I would like to maybe tell you something that I've really admired about you for the years that, for I think almost 3 years I've known you now.
Yeah.
I think you're a person who connects people, and that's one beautiful thing. And I think later on we can talk about how do you do that and what drives you to do that. But before we get there, let's just begin. Where is Collins from? Where is Collins Otieno from?
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, Collins Otieno, I'm from Kenya. Particularly, I am from Homa Bay County. Now, if I go again deep, from Bita constituency. So I have lived in Kenya. I was born and raised in Kenya. I went to school in Kenya, but for my master's program, I decided to come and do it here in the US. So yeah, so I've been in the US for like 3.5 years now. I just came in the other day, but right now, even if I look at the time, I realize that I've really spent quite, so many years here. So I'm from Kenya, but currently I live in Baltimore, Maryland, and that's where I went to school, and I'm still here, and I hope that I'll, continue staying here or maybe move to another state.
That is awesome. So, you told me, I know earlier you told me you went to Egerton University. What did you study there?
Yes, oh yeah. So for my undergrad, I went to Egerton University and I did gender and development studies because I was very passionate about, women empowerment, youth development. So I decided to do a program in gender that could kind of give me an insight on issues that affected women globally and, locally. So yeah, so right now I'm a very strong advocate of women empowerment. So as a man, you see me out there advocating for issues regarding, women. And I know even sometimes I saw last year or the other year, we used to have a lot of, Facebook conversations on issues that affected women. So yeah, I'm a strong advocate and did a gender and development degree. And for my master's, I did international studies. So I really have like a whole dynamic of global issues, youth development. So right now, I consider myself as an expert, in those two different areas.
That is awesome. So just quick, maybe side note. I know as this is a question I've always wondered and wanted to ask you in terms of what you studied at Egerton University, global, that is women representing the women challenges. So like you as a man, I know me growing up always heard about the boy child is forgotten. So how comes you ended up being the advocate for women? Well, it seems to my perspective that men are the ones who are lagging behind in the current state of the world that we are in. So why did you choose for women? What
Yeah,
motivated?
as a man, sometimes somebody's passion is always kind of stemmed from childhood, early childhood. Sometimes you see, a lot of women kind of are not kind of they're not in the decision-making table. Sometimes there's a lot of culture, and that kind of relegates majority of the women. So I felt like, we really need to involve, other people, and even men also need to come out and strongly advocate for women so that at least we can have gender equality. So I felt like as a man, that's a role that I can do. And I started from our home. From if you came to our home, you would see me, helping my mom, cleaning things. I was not like, hey, this is supposed to be done by a man or a woman. You have to start from there, and I had to showcase my attributes, from a very early uh, stage. And up to now, I've continued to incorporate all these ideas in my mind. And everything that I do right now, you see, we kind of involve men and women. As we interact daily, we are like, hey, do we have a man or a woman here? So that's why you see, I always come out, and sometimes we kind of encourage each other. And we are not saying that we are leaving the boy child behind. As we talk about issues that affect women, gender equality, at least we are also talking in consideration with what we already have, and we just want to work together as a team, both men, women, youth, and girls and boys, so that at least we can have a society that is just and can accommodate everybody, regardless of their gender.
I think that makes a lot of sense. I think it's a good and noble cause. So now you came to the USA, specifically Baltimore, Maryland. Did you ever try to go to other universities elsewhere? I like what I'm asking. I would like you to give maybe your holistic consideration how you got to the US, how you got to Morgan. Did you apply to other universities? Maybe you can just tell me what led to the decision to come to Morgan State University.
Yeah, coming to the US, when somebody's young, I used to dream, of coming to the US, but I didn't even know that one day I'll come to the US. And I'm glad that I'm here. So all these things started at a time, I'd already graduated from, Egerton, and I was there like looking for jobs. And so it happened that, my dad was coming over here. They were attending some conference. But when he came here, he met some of our people from home, and they encouraged him. Oh, there's a good school here, called Morgan State University. You can encourage those people at home, to apply. And when my dad came back, he was like, there's a school called Morgan State University. You can go ahead and, try and apply. So by then, we did not even know how we were going to pay for the fee. We didn't even have any other thing in mind. So when I started applying, my main goal was to apply, just applying. I didn't even put a lot of consideration, but I said, let me just give it a shot. I tried and applied. Though it was a little bit expensive, the process was long, but at the end of the day, I got my admission. And, I applied at other universities as well. For instance, I applied at Brandeis University in Massachusetts. I applied at two uh, colleges in Europe. I applied at even the University of Nairobi. So that at the end of the day, I had like three letters, one from the University of Nairobi, one from Morgan, and one from Brandeis University. So Brandeis University was offering like a 60% kind of scholarship. So, but it was expensive, as well. But at the end of the day, I decided, okay, let me go to Morgan, where at least I have that a community that exists, who can, be supportive. So that's why I decided to, come to Morgan.
Okay, so at Morgan, were you getting any scholarship?
So at Morgan, the scholarship was not kind of guaranteed.
Okay.
They only said on the website that, hey, if you kind of come, you are capable of getting either a scholarship, a graduate assistantship, or maybe you can have an opportunity of doing research program. There were a lot of funding, but it was not guaranteed until you come. So when I came, I actually tried and got money for the first semester. I paid it even from Kenya. That's what they want, that you pay from Kenya.
Yeah.
And when you come here, you now start another process. So when I came here, being that I was done with the first pay of the first semester, so I had to kind of now look for other means or how to get money for the remaining semesters. Yeah, so I'm glad that when I came here, the way you said connections and networking, yeah, I had to walk like for all the offices, the dean, if you go to the College of Liberal Arts, I was known there, if you go everywhere.
We're gonna get there. I think that's
Yeah.
what I'd like to get there. So,
Yeah.
in terms of application, I know a lot of people who, for me being here as a student for some time, I get a lot of people asking me, "Oh, help me apply for my son," or "Help me apply for school in the US." So, what is some of the advice you can tell somebody who is in Kenya right now, want to apply the university, like in terms of the process? What kind of mindset should they have?
Yeah, so one thing that I always advise people, especially when you want to come to the US, there are two things that you have to have in mind. One is that when you are coming to the US, don't think of what will happen if you get there. Just think about you at that time, apply. Don't think about how you're going to take care of the fee or what, because you never know. There are so many opportunities in the US, but you only get them when you're here.
Yeah,
So the best advice I will always tell people is that apply, if you want to come to the US, just start doing the application. If you see something, just take advantage of it and apply. So the application process, though, is a little bit, tedious and long, is a long process. That's why it is, it is there, it kind of makes you kind of give up, by looking at it. But
yeah,
so if you want to come to the US, you have to first persevere, go through the long application process, because if it was left to be open like that and easy,
yeah,
if everybody will be coming. But so that's guys kind of put that process to be a little bit long and hard and tedious, so that at least you can go through a lot of process before coming here. So first, you have to make sure that you remain focused when you start doing the application. Just do the application. Just open it. Try just one step at a time. If they need recommendation letters, try as much as you can to get them. Whatever they need, just build it in your application, because the good thing with so many applications is that once you open it, you can have it open even up to 3 months so that before you submit. So I will always tell everybody that if you want to come to the US, focus on the requirements of the program, focus on look at your credentials as well. Does it match with that program? And what do they need in that? Don't go for a program that needs a lot of, what is it called? A lot of examinations. Just go for a program that kind of require maybe one or two things. But you have to make sure that before you apply, you look at everything. And when you're applying, just focus on getting the admission letter and the I-20. The rest, if it is fee, get to everything first, then you can think about the rest.
that is good. That is good. And I think one thing you're saying, and I just want to bring that up, is about the process and being patient.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is very important. I think that's what most people give up. I have tried to apply for people, and then
Mm-hmm.
it takes like 5, 6, even sometimes even a year before you get to hear anything. And then people just go quiet and they give up.
Yeah.
But I think it's worth it to stick with the process and to be patient. I think that's very
Yeah.
important. Now you're here in the US. You said you already paid your first semester through the money from your parents and all the money that you could get from the pocket money and all that.
Yeah.
So now I know master's program is not easy. It takes about 2 years. Your second semester, how do you go about now getting funding? Because I have some background information that I know you got funding through to finish that, which was very helpful. So how did you go about that, getting the money to pay for your school fees?
Yes. So, after I'd paid for my first semester, so I was now here. Okay. I'm now here in the US. This is a new land. Apart from knowing 2 or 3 people, here, in as much as you can know people, there are people who cannot there are like a lot of information that you can only get them from specific individuals. So when I came here, first of all, I started kind of making friends. with people that were in my program, especially other students that have been there for like a year or so, who are in my situation. I try to get to talk to them about the kind of opportunities that we have available, because there are things that are always listed, on the website. Hey, if you come, you can get. But there are things that you can only get them if you interact with the people. So what I did is that I started looking at the kind of opportunities that I can get. When I walked from all offices, I realized that the scholarship opportunities they're always given like at the beginning of every academic year, and academic year starts in fall all the way to the spring. And here I was already in the fall, which means that most of the opportunities, like the graduate assistantship, they were issued in the fall before I came. So I realized that first that was not there. Like that option of getting a graduate assistantship was not on the table for me. So I just continued working from the dean, different lecturers, asking them the kind of opportunities, if I can volunteer. You have to make sure that when you want something, you have to kind of position yourself in a way that at least you can be an asset, to everybody. Yeah, so that's what I did. And one day I realized that I even went to one of the guys who was in charge of all the scholarship, and he was working at the graduate school. So I went to him, I told him about my situation. I kept emailing him, all the time. And one day, he didn't respond. So one day I just decided to walk in the offices. And when he saw me, he was like, I saw your email and I'm going to respond to you. So I just went back, and it took 2 days, and he was like, hey, we have offered you a scholarship for next semester. So that's why, yeah. So I was like, now I'm done with the second semester, and now let me wait for the remaining semester. So that's what I've been doing, and that's what I did. And what I can say is that most people did that, and everybody who did that kind of got a scholarship. So it's always about how you position yourself. If you excel in your studies as well, because you cannot get a scholarship if you're not performing. So you have to excel in your studies. You have to work hard. You have to showcase like good quality. Because when you're an international student, you have to like really work hard. In order for you to get any kind of support.
I think that is really good. That's really cool, because I think you, as I said earlier, you're a person who looks for connection, and I think anybody wants to be successful, especially, it doesn't matter if he's a student, if you're into business, or even just looking for employment, you have to have this connection. You have to build networks. And I think what is very important, you said, and I really love what you said about showing yourself as an asset. You see, most of the time people are looking for opportunity. You want to get value from either the company or from the school. You want to get a scholarship, but maybe you're not showing that you are an asset. So it's very important, especially if you're a graduate student, go say, you know what, I can volunteer, I have this skill, and I can be able to assist in this class. That's how you get these doors to open for you.
Yeah.
Go in, knock the door, send email, be consistent, because there's somebody else who's more consistent than you. It's, for me, what I believe is not necessarily about the quality or the skills that we have, but it's about consistency. If you want something, you have to keep knocking those doors. You have to walk into those doors until that person say, hey, I see this person. I'm gonna have this person.
Yes.
Awesome. I know you ended up helping with a teacher who was teaching Swahili.
Yes.
That's where you got that was your third semester, right?
Third semester now.
Okay,
yeah.
Let me tell us more about that. Like, this is an interesting people. Somebody they don't think here they speak or they teach Swahili.
Yeah, so during that first semester, we always have a lot of expectations. Especially as international students, we believe that if we just come here, there's a lot of opportunities, there's a lot of money. But when you come here, you are hit like, hey, you have to really work hard. People really struggling for those opportunities. So when I had walked everywhere, and I remember going to the department of the languages, and I asked if there's something I could do, but she was like, you know what, you can volunteer. You can talk to one of the Swahili teachers that we have, and see how you guys can work together. So when I went and I found him, he was called Dr. Robert Matunda, and he was from Kenya as well. So it gave me an opportunity to volunteer. So I used to take some of the classes. I tutor, teach, and sometimes I have like sessions with different students. So I would say that kind of also positioned me. It kind of elevated me to another level. So you see now when an opportunity came that now they wanted a graduate assistant, a position that was only one, it was, yeah, they were like, you know what, you have been working here, so we are definitely gonna give you that, and that's how I got that opportunity for being a graduate assistant, and that's what paid for my fee for the remaining semesters until I graduated. So
Oh,
I worked for a very long time as a graduate assistant, and some of my duties now kind of involve teaching Swahili, and I taught Swahili for a very long time. And at some point, I was in the languages lab, doing other duties as well. But I would say that the experience was very fulfilling, and it was because of me positioning myself and me going out there to tell people that I exist. And I remember even somebody like you, I met you in a very funny way, and I remember I was just going online, looking at any kind of person that I could get or who can be my friend. So that's the level that I took. And I remember I just went to the graduate school website and I was just looking at the names and I was like, oh, this name sounds like somebody, from Kenya. So I emailed like 10 people and that's how I found you. So I will just tell people, when you come to the US as well, try and get somebody who can work with you. The journey is very, very tedious and long, but if you get somebody who can work with you throughout that process, it is also very nice. And at least we can also create a family out of that friendship. Yeah, so that's what I did with people like you, and I really appreciate that you showed me around. Kind of, in the US sometimes you have to be courageous and brave. So that's something that you cannot learn in school. You can be shown around, by friends like Dr. Gishuki here. That's something that I will always tell you. So that's a very, very good thing, and I think so far the journey has been good. And I will encourage people, to just always apply and come and just follow the journey like we did, and everything will be fine.
I think that is also, I'm glad I met you because I know our friendship has grown over the years.
Yeah.
This is something I always tell anybody: find a community, find the people who are reliable, who you can work with, because sometimes it gets tough. You don't have answers, and even the person you go to might not have. This many times you've come to me, I don't have answers, but at least we have someone who can reassure you it's
Yeah.
gonna be all right. I've been where you are, you know. So
Yes.
it's very important. Anybody who is here or who's gonna be here in the US, international student, to find a community is very important. You have to be a person who's of value, adding value to the departments that you are in, volunteer, and that's how you're able to open so many doors. So now let's just go to us now as we conclude this conversation here. Now you graduate. Well, how has been? I know you have worked in several places, but just want to tell us. Sometimes as international students, what I found is we are afraid or we think we're not qualified for some jobs. So how have you been applying for jobs, or how did you apply for jobs? What was, and I really here I would like to talk about the mindset that somebody need to have.
Yes. So yeah, one thing is that when you are like almost finishing a program, then you need to start focusing on getting opportunities. And I realized that there are things that are already in school that I did not kind of utilize. I just came to realize that I was supposed to use them before I graduated. So things like the career center, you know, I will always encourage people to work with the career center to connect them with various opportunities that align with their interests and programs. So that's something that I didn't do, but I will always encourage people to do that. Number two, the career center will help you kind of structure your resume, in a format that is acceptable and nice, so that it can, nowadays, these resumes are always kind of put in some kind of computer or something, and they kind of scan for keywords. But if you have like a normal resume, then it means that if you apply for these jobs in notable companies like Facebook, automatically when they scan it, they're not gonna give you an opportunity to come for the interview. So when I was applying for jobs one day, through these connections, I met a lot of people. And some of them used to work for people like President Obama, and she connected me with somebody. And when I sent my resume, they were like, bro, this resume lacks this, you need to structure this, you need to refine what you want, all those things. So that's something that I didn't know, But when everything was changed, I started applying for jobs, and I was being called for interviews, even at international nonprofits. And I think I can say that one time when I was applying, and I was very successful in getting 2 internships at international organizations. One was the International Youth Foundation, and another one was the International Rescue Committee. So they have kind of, they instilled a lot of, skills and experience in me. So as at now, I even transitioned and got another job in Washington, D.C. as a job developer. And you are still continue to work hard, and I believe that the future is bright. And we are still going to, continue pursuing our dreams.
Awesome. So last question.
Yeah.
Maybe not last, maybe second to last. I always leave one on open, maybe more question might come after the answer you give me. I've seen your Facebook. You have met with some very interesting people since you've been in the US. Can you maybe share with us some of the interesting people you've met and what have you learned from them?
Yeah, so I've met actually the very first time I came to the US. I remember 2 weeks after my stay, the very first notable person that I met was her name was Andromeda Peters. She was Miss United States 2019.
Wow.
I have met people like Dr. Arikana Chiongora. She was the former AU representative to the US. I have met people like Dr. Jeff Kaluyu, this guy who vied for president in Kenya in 2017. I have met people like Governor Westmore, the current Maryland governor. I have met people like Judy Heumann. So Judy Heumann was the former, advisor to President Obama on issues regarding international disability, So I've met, quite a number of people, and even at the International Youth Foundation, I've met, different leaders on the side, and I've made a lot of friendship as well. So even in Syracuse, I have like town councillor, what we call MCA that I have met. Okay. Her name is Heather Waters. I have met even there's a lady who vied for Congress in New York. Her name is Dana Balter. I met her and even invited her for one of my function, the Youth Empowerment Platform. So those are the people that I know I can always be proud of. But I think I also got a very good connection with them, and I utilize my connection with them.
Okay, that is awesome. So talking about the platform that you have, what do you guys do on that platform? Can you maybe share, and where can people find that platform?
Yes, so the Youth Empowerment Platform is something that we founded during COVID. When COVID came, everything kind of transitioned to remote setup. So I was like, now that we are here and we can always use this opportunity when everybody is kind of using technology. What do we do? So I kind of realized that we can always have a conversation. And initially, I did not kind of think of, making it such a big thing. So we used to invite different people, like because due to all those connections, sometimes you have somebody, an expert, in issues regarding women and government. And we used to now have a contact. So one day I invited one of them to talk to us, the gender graduates, gender graduates from Egerton University. We invited her and we talked, and people were like, hey, we need to be doing this. Yeah, so that's why now the Youth Empowerment Platform came up. And we have been inviting people, dynamic leaders. We have invited people like Dr. Washira from the World Bank, people like Honorable Millie Odhiambo, who is the current Member of Parliament from Vita for Suba North. We invited different other leaders to talk about issues that affect women, the youth, and that's what we have been doing. So on Facebook, you can always find us at youth empowerment platform is there on Facebook. If you just type your Google, you can always find us there. And that youth empowerment platform kind of gave birth to Gateway for Rural Development. That's a community-based organization in Kenya, and we are doing amazing things as well regarding youth empowerment, regarding education, and sometimes we distribute sanitary pads to girls and even issue other kinds of support to boys. So those are things that those are ideas that came because of me being in the US. Because when you are here, you kind of now start thinking differently. So I will always tell people to, even if you are here, don't just sit at a comfort zone. Try as much as you can to, utilize your presence, here in the US.
That is awesome. So I think it's very important if maybe somebody's missing the thread here.
Yeah.
There's connections with people, there's idea development and idea execution. And that's what, for me, I've seen you. I've attended some of the events that I've been able to be there online with you, with your group. And I've seen that you're able to have this connection that you bring them to add value to people. And that is very, very awesome. So last advice you would give to a person who is almost giving up with their either application process, or they're here as international student, they're almost giving up, or they're applying for a job and they're almost giving up. What is the one advice you would give?
So one advice that I will always give, and even when I came, I didn't tell you even how I became an international student representative, but yeah, that's a story for another day. But I will say that I have attended functions, in Kenya through Morgan State University, where we came to talk to, students about the process of joining, like Morgan State University. So one thing that I will always advise people is that when you want to come to the US, let nothing discourage you. First, if you want to come to the US, you have to make sure that everything that you do has to move you forward, to coming to the US, not taking you back. So if it is something that if it is a passport that you're looking for, go and get it. If it is recommendation letters, go and get it. Don't say that it's hard getting a passport because of the current crisis. No, just make sure that open up your, if you feel like you're the deadline is fast approaching, yeah, you can change your, admission. You say you want to now apply for the next year, but at the end of the day, you still want to come to the US and pursue a goal of your, a dream. So you have to make sure that every time, that's the advice I can always give out. Make sure that when you want to come to the US and do, a program, just make sure that you work hard and, don't be discouraged by anything or anybody. Just apply. Don't even worry about how you're going to get your fee, where you're going to live. Just apply. Apply first. The rest will always take care of themselves.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I know it's a weekend. You go enjoy your weekend, and we'll keep in touch.
Thank you so much for inviting me, and I hope that we'll meet again and have more conversation on this.
Awesome. I hope you found this conversation to be of value. This is my greatest takeaway from this conversation, which I hope they'll highlight even on your end. Consistency, building a network or having people you know and making those connections, and not allowing anything to get on your way. If you do those things, I believe if you're an international student, if you are applying for a job, if you are starting a business, those things will open doors for you. Have consistency, build a network, and don't allow anything to get in your way. That's the great lessons we have learned from my friend here, Collins. And I pray and I hope that you'll be able to find this conversation to be valuable to you, and you'll be able to apply to it. So also make sure that you can share to your friends, subscribe if you have not, so that you can be able to receive more of these messages or this content. Be blessed.